Welcome back, Lift the Beast Life back here with another video, and today we're going to be chewing a banana. We're going to be looking into the very well-known topic. How many times should you train in a week? This topic is so crucial in the lifting industry or your lifting career, because how do you know what is the best option? The whole notion that you need rest between days after lifting, is it really true? Because we all know that protein synthesis does happen in those days, but is it really true that you can't keep extending protein synthesis to go on and on and on throughout the whole week if you keep lifting for 7 days or 5 days or however many days you lift? So is it really true that lifting 7 times a week is any better than lifting 3 times a week? Are there any potential gains that you might be losing out on if you don't lift 7 times a week or 5 times a week? Or if you're lifting less, like 1 time a week, what does that mean for in terms of gaining muscle? So we're gonna find that out today in this episode of Lift the Beast Life. Let's get on to it.
Yeah. On my grind all day, gonna make $1 million sound that someday. You know I'm in the building when I write this way. Put me in the crown when I bite this game. Bitch, I'm an animal. Eating these rappers, I swear I'm a cannibal. About to fulfill all my dreams, I'm a fiend. I've been plotting and scheming, this shit is obscene. I rise on fleek, what in the fuck does all that even mean? Seems like we're scared about what this pursuit. I'm about to win it when they bum my shit right now.
I've done the research already, and here's what I found throughout searching many scientific, publicly studied articles and or studies that were conducted by experiments and or case studies that were made. So here's what I found to answer your question on what is the best way to gain muscle. Do you lift 3 times a week or do you do 7 times a week? All right, so here's what I found in this first article that supports one of the claims that are being passed around, that 3 times a week is good enough. So in the article called Efficacy of Reduced Frequency Resistance Training on the Maintenance of Muscular Strength and Power. So this article basically states, and I'll paraphrase the last point. It is concluded from the findings of this research that a training frequency of 1 session per week is adequate for allowing resistant trained males to maintain muscular strength for isotonic exercises for a minimum period of 9 weeks. So what does this mean in terms of actually training and actually gaining muscle? So what they're basically saying is you only need 1 session per week, just 1 session to just maintain your current muscle mass. You don't need any more than that throughout the whole week to gain any more muscle mass. So, and it is also further concluded in this study that you only need about 2 sessions per week to keep gaining muscle mass, which makes most sense, because if you need 1, which is bare minimum, which you can utilize to maintain your muscle mass, then think about what 2 sessions does, and now think about what 7 sessions throughout the week does. So it's stated that 2 sessions per week is the minimum required in order to gain muscle mass. All right, so this kind of proves our argument of how many do you really need in order to build muscle mass, because it's stating here that the bare minimum required is just 2 sessions per week. So let's see if training 7 times a week is any better than 2 or 3 times a week. So it was later said in this study that it was evident that larger muscle groups do not need to be trained as frequently as smaller muscle groups, which also makes sense. Think about your big muscle groups like your legs and chest. They don't go down immediately, and this kind of helps our argument here. Although this is not completely relevant, it kind of builds up the whole argument. How many times do you really need to work these muscles because they're already so big, and how many times do you need to work them in order to maintain and gain them? So we have defined here that you need a minimum of 2. So let's see if what they compared, what 2 sessions compare to 7 times a week or 5 times a week, which is a high volume throughout the whole week. This next article is called Frequency, the Overlooked Resistance Training Variable for Inducing Muscle Hypertrophy. So this basically states that the American College, I'm paraphrasing again, American College of Sports Medicine recommendation that trained individuals use split routines allowing for at least 48 hours of rest between exercises that stress the same muscle groups. All right, so this is an important factor. So I went deeply into this and I looked up the American College of Sports Medicine recommendations. So who are these people? This college is well known for its research purely on resistance training. There's a whole factor here. This is the College of Sports Medicine, all right? So these people are pretty credible when it comes to knowing what they're talking about. So I found out on their website and in their articles that they have mentioned, yes, you do need to allow at least 48 hours of rest for your muscle groups, not only because it induces proper amount of protein synthesis to happen correctly and not let it delay out, but it also ensures that your muscles get the right amount of rest and they actually strengthen up to the point where they can be reused again, where that resistance can be added after 48 hours. And you can ensure that you don't injure yourself after constant usage day after day after day. And this is what they're saying. So the third article I found on this was effective training with different intensities and volume on muscle fiber enzyme activity and cross-sectional area in the M triceps brachii. So this article is kind of scientific and it's really in depth with science because this was an actual experiment that was conducted. So let me break it down for you and let me tell you what it means, all right? So all this is saying is tests were conducted on subjects, and what they found was one group was, well, the way they set it up was one group was training less and one was training more throughout the week, and especially their tricep area. But we can kind of divert this off of the tricep area and just look at the whole bigger picture as it is. So I'll paraphrase right here. It was said that intermittent training increased a GPDH activity more than continuous training in both type 1 and type 2 fibers. Meaning, all right, you can just tell by this what it means. It's pretty simple to understand. Intermittent training, which is periodic training, increased more activity of this chemical in your muscles that is required to build the muscle more than continuous training. So what this means is pretty obvious. It means that, and I'll paraphrase here, training intensity is sufficient to stimulate, to increase in oxidative and glycolytic capacity. What does this mean? It means that if you're training sufficient enough, it's bound to happen that your muscles will increase and you will make more gains. And it's also saying that it is no better to train 7 days or 5 days compared to 3 or 2. It's just saying as long as you go full route, as long as you stress your muscles out to the maximum point, you will make muscle gains. And doing the same muscle group for 7 days a week isn't beneficial because, again, coming back to the American College of Sports Medicine, it is recommended that you do 3 days a week, which basically means take 48 hours of rest. What it basically is saying, all of these sources, is that you should train for about 2 to 3 times a week. And if you really feel like training, again, that muscle group, go for 4, but don't go more than that is what they're saying. Because even if you train for 3 days a week and you are increasing in your sets in that one session you're doing, or you are increasing in your volume in that session, you will ensure that your muscles will surmount to the same amount of protein synthesis that they should be in order to gain muscle. And that's all that I have to say on this. Live the beast life. And this has been my first educational or scientific video on this topic. I'm looking forward to doing more of these scientific type of videos. So if you like it, leave a comment down in the comment section below, and like the video if you like the video. Let me know if you do like this kind of content. Thank you for watching, guys. Just know that you don't have to be at the gym for 7 times a week. If you do like that, go ahead, train another muscle. All right, you don't have to keep curling for 7 days a week. And that's all that the research is saying. That's all I'm saying. And that's what most people follow. So 3 times a week, 48 hours rest. Rest, guys. Rest is very important. This has been Lift the Beast Life. I'm signing off, and I'll catch you in another video. Thanks for watching.